Digital 410 Productions proudly presents the What's in Your Head podcast.
Digitized live from
Your company name here.
the studios in Cape Coral, Florida. It's the What's in Your Head podcast.
What's up, OG5? Welcome to another episode of the Mike Makes Funny Faces in the Camera podcast. Of course, this is an audio-based podcast, so you won't be able to see these funny faces for a few weeks until we make the video version. But I can assure you he's doing lines off his microphone now. I'm not sure what's going on over there. His wife's all excited about her book collection, telling him he needs to throw away his antiquated DVDs because no one collects those anymore, and make room for her long expanded series of what's that gray novel? 50 Shades of Something Gray. Yeah, she's got to get all 14 books of those up there. I miss those days.
Hey, that believe it or not, she actually doesn't have any of those, and I don't know if she's really interested in reading them. However,
it was made for an
she has been reading. She started a fantasy series a while back. She just now finished the 5th installment of this fantasy series. And let me tell you, one night when we were laying in bed, I turned on the audio book version of, I think it was the 3rd book.
Mm-hmm.
And it was specifically like chapter 51 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Shazam.
Holy shit.
Makes Skinamax seem like Looney Tunes.
I mean, we're talking, this is basically porn for your, reading pleasure.
Women been into that for years. That's what guys didn't understand in the 90s. Like, the big thing was Fabio. Fabio was on all the covers of all the romance novels. Yeah, it's because when the housewives were reading them back then, it was pure smut.
That's
I say.
pretty
Of course,
much.
they would give the husbands grief over, why do you need the Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue, which was the most mild thing in the world. But meanwhile, they're reading their make-believe smut with their Fabio on the cover.
I can't wait to start getting Maxim posters back on my wall in here. I don't care now.
Is Maxim even in print? Or you got to go out and pay like extra money for the... Oh, those were the days. Maxim.
Maxims.
What was the other magazine? See, I think Mike's microphone's
Maxim.
cranking up on him now, but anyhow.
My mic's up?
No, yeah, you spike every once in a while. Maxim, Stuff magazine. What was the other? Was there 3?
I remember Maxim, Sports Illustrated swimsuit.
No, I think it was like Stuff magazine.
And, I mean, unless you're going straight porn. Then
No, I'm going
or nudie mag.
late 90s, early 2000 men's magazine that you could get off at the rack at any Meijer, Target, you had Stuff magazine, I think was one of them. I think Stuff was the competitor to Maxim.
A lot of the car magazines
What was the...
and whatnot, you could catch a lady every now and again.
You know what did it for me is a ute. I used to stay at my mom's house in the summertime. My mom's boyfriends used to fancy themselves bikers.
Are we going to go back into the hedge porn days? Or?
No. Kind of.
Kind of.
But they all fancied themselves bikers, but none of them could afford motorcycles.
I think Morgan fell asleep.
No, I think he's looking at head porn.
No, I was looking to see if I could find them. All I can find is Maxim and Men's Health.
Oh. All I see was Morgan down there like, his fucking eyes looked like they were closed.
Yeah, here we go.
Wake up, old man.
Here we go. Stuff magazine, USA number 10, September 2000. Yeah, it's Stuff. So Stuff magazine, as the name implied, it was like Maxim magazine combined with like Consumer Reports. It would have like write-ups on the latest, tech gadget.
Oh yeah.
Here we go. Stuff magazine, twice the sex, half the foreplay on page 122. The great Stuff sports quiz, the 50 most annoying things ever. So yeah, I mean that was the direct competitor, and so yeah, they would all have the centerfold, and it was just basically hot college chicks around the time in bikinis, and thongs and shit. Because you got to remember, this is the day of whale tails. Can't wait for those days to come back. Because right now, I straight up saw a kid walking down the street who's about 18. He looked like he walked out of my senior year science class. He had on a white polo shirt, kind of wrinkled, with the not Jinkos, because Jinkos are fucked out, but he had on the baggy pants with the wide pipe leg bottoms. I mean, he straight up walking 1998. Early 2000s when the whale tail phase. That's when all the girls wore the low ride jeans with the thongs. Remember those days? But
Yep.
Stuff Magazine, they would have like Sarah Michelle Gellar in bikinis and Elijah Dushku and who's Justin Timberlake's wife?
Oh, Jessica Biel.
Jessica
Oh,
Biel was like
yeah.
doing those centerfolds. It was all the hot actresses plus, musicians and shit. And then like they'd have like the college chick stuff. But yeah, Stuff Magazine was the competitor to Maxim. Maxim made it bigger, but Stuff was a little more indie geek style magazine. But those all died with the internet, right? Those are all things the internet killed. And they all tried to make the transition,
much.
right? But
Yeah.
let's be honest. In the early 2000s, why would you go to stuffmagazine.com when you could go to worldsex.com, right? You're already there. You're already on the platform. Why go to... Because Stuff Magazine was kind of... Back to the previous joke about being married. If you're married and your wife didn't care about porn, you're just going to have the Hustler and the Playboy and all that shit, right? But if she was like not on the, hey, I let my husband look at naked girl shit, then you might be able to get away with the aforementioned Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue or the Stuff magazine or the Maxim magazine because it wasn't nudity, but you still got away with having a centerfold of a hot chick in a bikini while reading actually halfway decent articles versus the stuff that was in Playboy. But the internet killed all that
got it
shit.
for the articles, 100%.
That and the super jokes, the super racy jokes.
Yeah.
But yeah, Mike's being forced to get rid of the DVD collection.
Yeah, I think I got, I don't know, 100 or so DVDs over there.
Did we talk about it last week where I was looking online and I found like a Sony modern day DVD player with an HDMI output? Like I want to start having movie night again just because all the modern day movies are so fucked out and boring.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's something that, the people that I'm around are, well, how come you don't, like, I don't watch TV, I don't watch movies, I don't watch any of that shit. Mm-hmm. I barely watch shit that gets suggested to me because it's so, for me, it's like, it's the same shit. And like, we've talked about this a couple times where it's like the same 7 scenarios, and plot lines and shit like that. It's like, it's so overplayed.
But it's not
and
even
boring.
that. At least Clerks was original version of one of those 7 stories. At least
Right.
Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels was an original version of those. Now it's like, well, if it's not an existing IP, if this isn't episode 83 of a hero movie, Fast and Furious, fucking Born Identity, name any fucking... If this isn't a prequel or a sequel to a movie that's already been in the theater 18 times in the last 20 years, we're not making it. And it's like,
Right.
they're fucked out. Nobody cares.
Yeah. Yeah.
I am kind of excited for the second Happy Gilmore movie, though. I think that's pretty dope.
I don't know, man.
I'm kind of excited for it too, but I have very high expectations.
I
And I
very
think a
low
lot of people do.
expectations. You need to
You
have
do? Really?
Well, if you go in and
mine are pretty low because it's going to be a lot of recycled gags, and I don't hold a lot of high hopes for it, but I'll have a couple drinks and a good time while I'm watching it.
well, and
See,
plus,
I'm trying to hold it to that same standard.
move your
That's what I
microphone
mean.
forward a little bit, Mike, because you're like peaking, and me and Morgan are about the same. But that way, instead of trying to adjust it, but go ahead.
What I was saying is I'm trying to hold it to that same standard as the original.
I'm trying to
if
hold it
it's-
to a
if it's at
lower
least
standard
that.
because then when it's better than my standard, I'm excited. If I go
Yeah.
into a thing that's going to be as good as the original, which, let's be honest, now you got a 50-year-old trying to write jokes aimed towards 13-year-olds. At least the first time he was 28 and a half. He was closer to the age he was writing for, but now he's a little
True.
older. And
But
so
if
So
you
I
watch,
just wonder
if
who
you-
he's going to beat up this time.
Yeah.
Is he going to beat up Drew Carey? And the same. The price is wrong, bitch.
yeah, he could do Drew Carey. I know Shooter McGavin makes an appearance in it, but I don't know.
Oh yeah.
I thought he was like in it.
Well, I just seen the previews where like he was like at a retirement home or working in like a Lowe's garden center or something. I don't know. For some reason, I don't know. At least I guess it's realistic that Happy Gilmore didn't go on to have a long storied career, because in the preview it looks like he's washed up living on the east side of like Columbus somewhere and his wife died or some shit.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
He's still living in grandma's house driving the old Duster, so
I don't know. To me, it would be kind of like trying to do a follow up to Billy Madison. It's like what can you do?
That would
with
be hard.
I'm a 50-year-old going to go to college this time.
Yeah, I mean, at least it's one of those types of stories where you can go back and defend your title as Happy Gilmore.
Yeah, I suppose.
That whole the Billy Madison gag is like it. That was a cut and dry, start to finish type of situation that you can't really play off of. I don't think.
I mean, we got Jurassic Park 33.5 coming out, so that's played out. What was the other?
Right.
what about Naked Gun? That's another one that I think might be interesting with Liam Neeson as Frank Drebin.
Yeah.
I don't know. The problem with the Naked Gun is they didn't bring in the original writers. The original writers wanted to be part of it, and they blocked them out, right? And so, and because Naked Gun was based off of the miniseries, what was it, Patrol?
Police Squad.
So it would be like, hey, we're going to make Clerks 4, but we're not going to bring Kevin Smith to write the screenplay. It's like, well, what do you have then?
Well, that's was my idea in theory about the Fast and the Furious franchise. That wasn't the original director and whatnot. It was like, I think it was a couple of guys that were writing originally, and then the one like fucked off, and I don't know if he ever came back. And then the other one kind of like was there, and then I think he went away, and then he came back, and it was like, that's why I think that franchise completely changed the dynamic from what it originally was, which was just street racers boosting fucking
car stereos. I saw a meme the other day, so I can't wait until Fast and Furious goes back to the guys trying to steal car stereos, not guys trying to save the world. Yeah, but I do know the last 4 have the same writer because Adam Carolla is friends with him. But I don't know when he came on and started doing them all.
But that's what and I think it kind of died off there around. I'd say the first 4 are probably the most interesting ones. The first 3 being the most,
full
the better of the however many there are now.
I've only saw the first 2. I kind of lost interest for that. I'll be honest with you. I've only seen the first 2 Transformers. I have yet to even sit down and watch Guardians of the Galaxy straight through. I've seen the Deadpool because those were funny, but I don't know. I just totally lost interest in all of it. But kind of on that point, though, don't you? Well, I'm watching the allegedly the final season of Handmaid's Tale. Have you guys watched any of those?
No.
My wife talked me into watching a few of them.
What season? Season 1?
Probably.
It's based off a book. It's a very interesting concept. But what's interesting is I hate when you can tell the writer's political leanings and you can kind of identify when the show was written. For example, season 3, I think it was, of that show You, about the serial killer, which took place. It was written during like season 3 of COVID, and so they started writing in digs at people who didn't believe in getting vaccinated. So they kind of like during the storyline, the characters like talking down to you as a person because maybe you didn't get vaccinated, so they're making digs towards you in the dialogue. Well, the interesting thing about The Handmaid's Tale is essentially kind of a modern day equivalent of what it would be like to live in Nazi Germany, right? Not so much to the extreme of we hate the Jews. It's more of we got this country that's extremely based on religion, and if you're not one of the believers, you're sent away. But they never said the word Nazi in the first 3 seasons. It was brought up one time. Someone made the comparison. It was almost like they lived in a universe where Hitler never happened, right? Sure. Season 1, 2, and 3 were written during the Biden administration. Now Trump's in office. The first 3 episodes, the word Nazi's been used 4 or 5 fucking times because in real life they're constantly calling Trump a Nazi. So in the first 3 seasons, where it would make sense to call the people in the show fucking Nazis because they essentially were, the phrase was never brought up. They never used the phrase. But now, just like NGO, you guys know what an NGO is?
Mm-hmm.
Did you know what an NGO was 2.5 years ago? Or heard the phrase?
By that terminology,
but it wasn't until Elon Musk and Doge got in that NGOs, we got to get rid of the NGOs.
But a non-government
A non-government organization. I never heard the phrase NGO until they want to start cutting budgets for it. Very first episode of the last season of Handmaid's Tale, they escaped Gilead. They're going back to Canada where they're safe. And June is on the train, and she's trying to get help. Apparently on this train, there's a whole organization of people because she keeps asking, where's the NGOs at? We need help. We need to talk to an NGO. It's like, oh, I got you. Yeah, this was written during the Trump administration. You guys don't like him. They're getting rid of NGOs, so you want to convince your audience that NGOs are a good thing. So June's looking for somebody who represents an NGO to help provide them with sanctuary. It's just like, when it's that blatant, it's like, okay, we've watched this show for 3 seasons. None of these phrases have come up, but now you're popping up. It's like, oh, got you. I know. And you'll be able to tell this 5 years from now when you go back and watch it. You shouldn't be able to tell what political group, regardless of left or right. If I'm watching your sci-fi show that takes place in a make-believe world, I shouldn't be able to tell who was in office when you wrote the dialogue to your show based on your fucking politics. You shouldn't be able to notice that big of a swing. But it's there, and it's just like, oh, that's disappointing.
Well, there was something kind of along that line where it's interesting when it backfires, because there's a show that was actually a video that I saw the other day. It had Adam Driver in it, and he was
related to
doing a
Minnie
scene.
Driver?
Huh?
He's not related to Minnie Driver. They just got the same last name.
I have no idea.
Gotcha.
But he's in this show. I don't know about the show. I've never heard about the show or anything like that. This video just popped up. And, they always put some kind of caption or something like that about, and they were trying to explain exactly, what I guess the thought process was and intended in the scene, and then what the reverse effect of it actually ended up happening.
Okay.
And it was, these 2 people had sex. They've been dating for like 7 weeks or something like that. And she had gotten pregnant, and then she just nonchalantly said, oh, I got an abortion yesterday or whatever. And he was like, wait, what? And completely did not include him in that, did not, and it was like it's like the pro-abortion, pro-choice type of movement type of thing. And Adam Driver's character just exploded and was like, why the fuck was I not included in any of this? And I'm not trying to get into like a pro-choice, pro-life type of fucking debate here, but just, how that type of scene to me, because when I saw the video, I was like, wow, why the fuck would anyone think that was right at all?
Oh, no, there's a whole group of people who think that because it's the woman's body, the man has no agency in that decision. That's a whole
right.
thing.
And I understand that, but the way that the scene was supposed to play out,
yeah,
and how they intended it, and the way that my thought process took it, and the way that I'm sure a lot of people probably took it was why the fuck wasn't he included in that whole process like that? And it kind of backfired on him is what I'm trying to get at. And it's interesting to see when that happens, when they have an intended purpose, for a show or a scene or something like that, it completely does the opposite of what they want.
I don't have a problem with that if that concept, that thought process is a through line through the entire series or the movie. But like I said, when you can tell, oh, season 1 was written during this person's presidency, and season 2, all of a sudden, the tone gets shifted based on something that has nothing to do with the storyline, because the storyline takes place in a mystery world where Donald Trump doesn't exist. But when you can tell, oh, season 1, 2, and 3 were written during the Biden administration, season 4 is written during Trump. Yeah, when you can tell, it's like, oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
But you know what? It's funny. I don't know, maybe a year ago, I went through this phase because once again, we're talking about how we're bored of all the modern day shit. I started watching all the old shit on Tubi and Freevee and all those streaming services where you can watch these old shit from the 80s, 90s, and even older. I watched the first Lethal Weapon. When's the last time you watched that as an adult?
I never have. I watched it when I was a kid.
I loved it as a kid.
Yeah.
Boy, didn't even have to look it up. I can tell you just by watching it as an adult, that movie was written during the first assault weapons ban in 1980 because the entire dialogue is anti-gun. Mel Gibson's character goes, which is ironic because he wants to kill himself through the whole show, but there's a whole conversation about cop killer bullets, which are hollow point, which the irony with that is, for those of you who are too young who don't remember, when hollow points first came out, they were called cop killers. They're the most dangerous bullet in the world. They're hollow point. The reason I say that as irony is nowadays, if you're a concealed carry permit holder and you carry a firearm with non-hollow points, which are full metal jackets, and you get into a self-defense situation, you're going to have a hard time explaining to a judge why you're carrying full metal jackets because they're considered the most dangerous round, because when you shoot at somebody or shoot somebody, that bullet hits them, it's more likely to pass through them, or if you miss them and you live in an apartment, that full metal jacket's going to go through the drywall and kill your neighbor. Whereas the hollow point flattens out like a Skittle when you press your thumb on it, and then it tumbles and then it'll just bounce off the drywall. So now these days, they tell you if you're going to conceal carry, you better use hollow points because hollow points are safer for the pedestrians around, the unintended targets. But back in the 80s, hollow points were the devil's right hand. They were the scourge. If you had hollow points,
I didn't know that.
Oh, hollow points had a real bad reputation. They were called cop killers back in the day.
Well, I also didn't know what you were just explaining about.
Oh, yeah.
Having hollow points versus full metal jacket.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it makes sense, but
yeah, like if you're out in a parking lot, like somebody's shooting at you, you're getting robbed or whatever, you have to defend yourself. If you miss them, and that hollow point hits a piece of drywall, it's going to collapse on itself. So when it passes through the second layer, it's going to tumble, and it'll probably, it might break the skin or bounce off somebody. Whereas full metal jacket, you could have two people standing back to back, and it'll pass right through them both. Yeah. Full metal jackets don't collapse, whereas hollow points do. And
actually, the real cop killer bullets were actually Teflon coated.
Oh, okay. So I was wrong on that. I always heard them called that with hollow points.
I'm trying to remember what they were called, but there was like a specific brand name of these Teflon coated hollow points. And they would.
So they were hollow point, but they were Teflon coated.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So they'd go through a Kevlar vest.
Gotcha.
Because the Teflon made them slippery.
See, that kind of goes to show you how the media operates. They didn't say Teflon coated hollow points; they just all hollow points. And so growing up at the time, you just hollow point bullets. Gotcha.
Well, and I mean, along those lines, I mean, that's why. Military ammunition is full metal jacket, because you want to go through and through.
Mm-hmm.
So
I had a Lee County sheriff tell me the reason that Lee County switched from 9mm to 45 is someone's trying to run you over. It takes too long to penetrate a windshield with a 9mm.
Interesting.
So it was done to protect the cop. If somebody's trying to run them over or crash into them, or we've all seen the videos too where the cops are driving, instead of sticking their gun out the window, they just shoot through the windshield. Like that famous Vegas shooting. Yeah, it's obviously you're not going to be able to aim, so it's dangerous to point your gun out the side window. So they just shoot straight through the windshield so they can look down their bead.
Was that KTW?
I think so.
Yeah, but it had a name like, Black Hawk or something like that. I just can't remember what it is.
Yeah, so long ago. But yeah, if you watch Lethal Weapon, there's like two lines of dialogue. One of them's like a whole paragraph where he's just railing about, all the guns in the streets and assault rifles and this and that. It's like, oh, okay, I got you. That was a sign of the times. Which is funny because that gun, that my M1 Garand, sad story, but it sucks for me, but it's all in one I could find. my M1 Garand right there is technically an International Arms Company M1 Garand. International Arms didn't make M1 Garands. They made receivers during the 1980s assault rifle ban because part of that ban was you could not sell military grade weapons where the serial number had ever been issued to the Army or military. So what they were doing was taking off the OEM Springfield receivers from 1940, chopping them up, and then this company up in Canada was making new receivers. So my M1 Garand actually has an International Arms Company receiver. Well, the reason I say it's dumb is there's physically, logistically, mechanically no difference. So to them, what made it an evil gun versus a good gun was simply the number that was stamped on the receiver and who it had been assigned to originally. So it'd be like saying, well, you can't own a Honda Civic from the 90s if it was sold in the state of California. So any Honda Civic that was sold in California, you got to pull the drivetrain out and replace it with a Honda Accord drivetrain, and then you can drive it. Or you can replace with a drivetrain of a Honda Civic that was sold in Kentucky at the same time. It's the same exact shit, just different serial number.
Yeah.
And it destroys the value and the historical aspect of it.
But if you ask any anti-gun person, you show them a picture of an SKS with with wood foregrip and buttstock on it, or you show them with polymer, which one of these is the evil assault rifle? And they're always going to pick the polymer one because, it looks military and scary. Even though it's the exact same thing as a Kalashnikov with, wood furniture on it.
Yeah, you can do the same thing with a Mazda Nagant. I actually know somebody had a Mazda Nagant who put a modern day polymer, like competition shooting furniture on it. I've done one of my early TikTok videos that got took down. I did the same thing. I held up a .223 round and I held up my 30-06. Which gun would you rather your neighbor have? And then I held up the M1 Garand. It looks like your grandfather's old hunting rifle. And then I held up the AR-15 and say, which bullet goes to which gun? And then another one I did, they took down. I was kind of doing the irony thing. Is like, who needs a weapon of war, assault rifle, AR-15, blah, 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 blah. What you need, and I held up my M1 Garand, is a knife hunting rifle like the one my grandfather left to me. But, it's just people don't get it.
Well, you need the one that takes the 20-round clip.
Mm-hmm. They actually make a modified M block where the bottom is bent down to turn an 8-round M block into a 5-round.
I can believe it.
Yep.
It's like putting a plug in a shotgun, so in the magazine tube, so it'll only hold 3 rounds instead of 5.
When I got into World War II reenacting in 2012, there was a company out of China that made a reproduction Winchester 1906 trench gun. You know the one I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
One they used during World War I, World War II, all the way up through Vietnam. Had the heat shield on it, had the bayonet lug. It was slam fired, only held 5 rounds. They sold for $600. You could order them and have them sent to your local gun dealer. During the Obama administration, I think after one of the mass shootings, it was put on the no-fly list, no import list because of the bayonet lug. It still held the 5 rounds like a sports shotgun. And so now this knockoff reproduction, let alone the original, forget the original Winchester trench gun, if you can find one, they're through the roof. But this Chinese replica that was
1897.
Yeah, the 1897. This $600 reproduction now, if you can find, were $2,000, like borderlining on what the originals cost back in 2012. It's like you can't get them anymore. I know somebody has like one of these Chinese ones because I was going to get one when I worked Stan Haney. I always look for them. Next thing I was like, yeah, you can't import those anymore. I was like, son of a bitch. Yep. Here's a little weird story, but fuck it, that's what we do. Trying to be super vague here. A family that's a friend of our family has a family member that we all probably have, sort of. That one family member that people have gone out of their way, maybe invested some money to relocate them as far away from the family unit as possible because they've burnt every bridge, they've stolen every stick of makeup or whatever. The female, this person would spend all their days smoking the spice that you got at the gas station because they couldn't smoke weed because they're already on probation. And so this person's just sent far, far away. Bye. Good luck to you. They're gone for 12, 13 years. And then they start calling a family member, making all these bizarre claims. They're out to get me. My boyfriend's mom's trying to murder me. I wake up and there's writing on the wall. And start sending all these super crazy encrypted texts. And you're like, what do you mean he's trying to kill you? They're putting poison in my air conditioning vents. I called the cops for domestic. He's looking at 25 years in prison. Who's trying to kill you? They're searching. They're looking for me. To the point where this person's family member's like, okay, I'm going to bring this person back to Florida and try to get them some psychological help, maybe get them put in a evaluation center. It's like, and then their family member's like, they have evaluation centers in Indiana. Don't bring them back here. Leave them the fuck up there. But this person doesn't pay attention to what the rest of the family says, and so they put this person on a Greyhound from Indiana, send them down here. Person gets kicked off a Greyhound. You know the level of fucking retarded you got to be to get kicked off a Greyhound bus? This isn't exactly this isn't like first class on a Delta airline in 1985. I mean, we complain now that planes are the Greyhound of the sky, so just imagine what a Greyhound is nowadays. So the bar to get kicked off of a Greyhound is set. This person got kicked off because I got pictures of him. This person started taking pictures of a random woman on this Greyhound bus because she's one of the hitmen that's following her from Indiana. Okay. This person comes down here. An independent representative of this family, after being hounded for 4 days, says, fine, I'll go see this person with the person who brought him down. So the three of them are going to go out. And they go hang out with it, and the person's perfectly fine. All day long for like 5 hours. And they split up, go take showers, eat. The phone calls start coming in. You got to get me the fuck out of here. What's going on? They found me. What? They found me. I can smell it. They put poison in my air conditioning vent. Who? The family from Indiana. The family that you live in a single wide trailer with. You know how much money it costs to assassinate somebody? You think that this family has money to hire murderers in another state or ships? And second off, where does one get poison? You think you just go to Walmart? The amount of money it cost. What did you witness?
Down to the Verizon store.
What did you witness that this family who has no money could all of a sudden finance an assassination attempt on your ass? You know, you didn't see like the president going to Epstein's Island. What the fuck did you? They're coming to get me.
Did you say something bad about Hillary?
I took the vent cover off the air conditioning, and there's rocks and poison. You're in a fucking no-tell motel in North Fort Myers that was built in 1979. That AC filter vent probably hasn't been taken off that wall since 1994. I would imagine there's some gross shit in there. No, they're coming to get me. I need to get out of here. Late at night, start sending them texts that look like it's made up from generative text. Like, you know, when you type in TH, your friend will suggest, like, thanks or, you know, think. And it looks like they're just hitting a few letters and choosing auto-generated words, like the paragraphs don't make sense, and you copy and paste it and put it in ChatGPT, and ChatGPT's like, this is an indicator somebody's had a mental fucking breakdown. They're coming to get me. And so I was talking to this person today, and like, I just can't get it. Anytime I talk to this person during the day, they're fine. But at nighttime, they're fucking losing their mind. I'm like, well, that's probably because they sleep all day and then they go out and find drugs to do.
Sure.
Well, no, they can't take drugs. They're on 12 milligrams of Suboxone. Say what? Yeah, they're on 12 milligrams of Suboxone a day. What are they on Suboxone for? Well, they were living with this old lady who was dying of cancer, and they were taking all her cancer pills and got had to get put on Suboxone to get off this, morphine or whatever the fuck you give to cancer patients. And so they can't take Suboxone. Do me a favor. Go into ChatGPT and type in, what are the mental side effects of Suboxone? They type it in. Depression, anxiety, all random stuff. Okay, that's not it. Space. In rare occasions, on high dosage, some side effects include paranoia. So let me get this straight. This person is fine when you call them at 11 a.m. in the morning, 1 p.m. in the afternoon, but every night around, 8 or 9, the fucking world's coming to... Next time you talk to them, ask them what time of day they take their Suboxone. I'm going to say they're probably sleeping in late, waking up around 1 or 2, eating it. Time that shit kicks in around 7:30 or 8, they're having all these fucking paranoid schizophrenic delusions where, this person literally is writing shit on the wall, waking up the next morning and taking pictures like, look, they're coming to get me. It's like, holy... And the person who brought this person down had to call 911 for a different reason. Like, the person who brought this person down was having health issues because being around this person for a fucking week drove their blood pressure through the roof because they're in their older age. And so while they're on 911 trying to get help for this person who brought it down, the other one's talking about, we got to get the fuck out of here. I smelled in the AC vents. They're trying to kill us. And so the cops talk to the nutball. Of course, Lee County never. She's fine. Won't take her, lock her up. She has since been kicked out of her economy suite because she started taking pictures of the lady next door, calling 911 because the lady next door is trying to kill her. I'm like, that poor lady next door. She has no idea what she's getting involved with. But it's like all these people involved. And once again, we don't know I'm right, but it would make sense that she's perfectly normal 6 hours out of the day, and then all of a sudden her cookie slides off her cracker, and a quick chat GPT says in extreme case of people with mental issues that paranoia comes as a side effect of Suboxone, and this person's taking 21 fucking milligrams a day of the shit. Maybe they should switch her fucking medicine up to see if she loses her paranoid schizophrenic delusions of some white trash family somehow hiring hitmen in Florida to poison her because she filed a restraining order. It's like the whole thing's just fucking crazy.
That's some wackadoo shit.
Oh, it's so crazy. It's like, this is like bad screenplay shit. But the crazy thing, it's my first ex-wife, my only ex-wife. At least her grandmother was 70, right? When her grandma turned 70, her cheese slid off her cracker. She started walking around her apartment with panties over her face long before. This is in the 90s. This wasn't a COVID thing. She put tinfoil over her window and then made a sign on cardboard. This was in the 90s. She was in her 70s, so she was probably around during the 40s. But she wrote a sign on a major thoroughfare, the Holocaust happening inside. She was telling all her neighbors, anybody who listened, that the neighbor next door was blowing crack smoke through the vents to poison her. It's like you and your neighbor's AC vents it's not all one system. You have separate systems. And furthermore, you know how much crack smoke it would take to kill you? But at least she was like in her 70s and 80s. This person's 50. It's just like, get her off the fucking Suboxone and see what happens.
That's wild.
But could you imagine?
I don't know. But
could you imagine, Morgan? You're someone who's not of financial means, and you get yourself a bus ticket to Florida, and some crazy, insane person's taking pictures of you, screaming that you're trying to kill her in her sleep. And you're like, bitch, I'm just trying to go to the beach.
Fuck that. Fuck
Or
that.
or you're staying in some efficiency apartment in North Fort Myers, and the fucking crazy lady's taking pictures of you outside the window and screaming, "Leave me alone! You're trying to kill me." It's like, bitch, I'm just trying to find a job.
I'm gonna fucking kill you if you don't stop taking pictures in my fucking window. You're gonna get blasted. Fuck that.
It's like the only thing the family's like hoping maybe she'll just take it so far that a sensible cop will show up and say, yeah, this person needs some medical fucking intervention and Baker Act her ass.
So, yeah, I was just gonna say they need to Baker Act.
No one wants to do it. I dealt with this with another family member in the past who needed it, and no one wants to go on record as being the person, especially when it comes to children, to lock anybody up. You get this, you call the cops, they say call this service. The service tells you to call the cops. No one wants to get fucking involved. And then and then what happens is when that person finally does do something stupid, right? What always happens whenever something so insane happens that it gets to the news level, where were the red flags? Where's the red flag? Yeah. When the family members called the people who were supposed to help you with the red flags, no one ever wants to do anything about the red flags until the fucking red flags have already been caught on fire and the person's gone way overboard and someone ends up getting hurt. Then all of a sudden it's like, well, what happened? It's like, motherfuckers, we called you. No one wants to help until it's too late. And it's fucking ridiculous.
Sorry to blow my nose there for a second.
Yeah.
I was getting a little tickle.
A little tickle in your pickle? A little skickle? Yeah, so just remember, no matter how bad your day is, you could have a family member who's convinced that some poor family from Indiana has hired an international hitman to poison them because they filed a restraining order against their boyfriend. So as somebody who's been carrying a firearm for over 13 years daily, one of the biggest inconveniences is when you come home, you need to take your firearm off of yourself and put it somewhere safe, somewhere secure, especially if you have kids. Now, I know most of us are responsible. We have a gun safe somewhere, but let's be honest. Usually these gun safes are big, they're bulky, they're kind of out of the way because they're a bit of an eyesore. Your wife doesn't want them where everybody can see them. So sometimes they're in your closet behind some clothes, sometimes they're in the garage, sometimes they're in the mudroom. And let's be honest, taking your firearm out and walking to those locations to secure it is a pain in the butt, but you have to be a responsible firearm owner, especially have kids in the house. That's why you need to get yourself a StopBox Pro portable gun safe. You can make it non-portable. You can drill some holes in it, mount it to a place of convenience in your house, but it requires no batteries and no electricity. You simply come in your house, walk up to your safe, choose your finger button combinations, open a safe, remove your firearm from your person, put it in the safe. If you close your safe, just that easy, it's secure. So do yourself a favor, head over to stopboxusa.com/D410 and get all the information today on your StopBox Pro. When seconds count, trust the only non-fail firearm storage box, StopBox Pro, at stopboxusa.com/D410.
Well, I do have a family member that is...
Unsuboxing?
No, but
Should
he
be.
is borderline paranoid schizophrenic. He has not been diagnosed as that. He has zero interest in wanting to get diagnosed or go to... He thinks he's perfectly fine. But every once in a while, well, like since Hurricane Ian, which has been, 3 years ago now almost, he had an apartment. He was a business owner, had his own thing going on, was, his own boss and all that, was making money, paying rent, buying toys, all this stuff. And then a few months before the hurricane hit, he just kind of lost it.
So
I don't know what it was, huh?
Wasn't anything relating to do with, and I'm not trying to beat the COVID horse to death. Only reason I bring it up is one of the contributing factors to my business going out of business after my stepmom died and my dad retiring is when COVID hit. Our accountant, who had been doing our bookkeeping and payroll for 18 years, her cheese slid off her cracker because she was convinced that the thing was real and we're all going to die, to the point where, not just me, but all of my clients who I've been working with for years, No one could get their payroll, taxes done, anything. To the point where you had these businesses calling Lee County Sheriff to do a welfare check to a point where Lee County, yeah, we know she's fine. Like, she just went full-blown bozo. Just fell off the map.
No, I don't think it dialed in with that, because even after that, I mean, he was getting very political.
Mm-hmm.
But he got to the point where he started to have these delusions like people are controlling him, and people, and I don't want to say it really has anything to do with COVID or anything like that, but I don't know, he just got real fucking weird. Like people are controlling his Facebook, and like, you know, as soon if he was very in tune with that whole when you say something, all of a sudden it pops up on your phone type of thing.
But that's, and that's real. But what makes me stutter is like we all accept the fact that that's just marketing. That's just,
Right.
For example,
Correct.
the software I use at work, we use this RMM, remote management assistant software called Ninja. And I had to contact Ninja's tech support one day, and I didn't have it. So I Googled Ninja tech support. Now, every day while I'm working and I'm listening to podcasts on YouTube, every third commercial on my YouTube is for Ninja. It's like, motherfucker, I'm already using the service.
Yeah, and
Well-
again, I don't know exactly what happened. I mean, I just know he was in his house, and then the storm hit, and it like drove him further.
Wow.
And I don't know why, but he thought that his family members were all fucking with him. Like, everybody was trying to take his stuff, and like trying to control him, and all this stuff. He just got fucking. He went loony, and he, for whatever reason, he got in his truck. He drove like fucking 300 miles away, sat at a gas station for a week in his truck, was living in his truck at a gas station
Maybe
for
he
a
liked
week.
their honey buns there or something.
And then here's the weird part. He expected that when he came back, I mean, he was gone for quite a while. Like, he
Yeah.
went out to California, he went to New York, like, he went in all these places because he just went fucking bonkers. When he finally, that was like before he was up in, like, I don't know, like Tampa or something like that. And he was just sitting at a gas station, just doing some fuckery. And then he left. He bolted. And then he expected that after he was gone for however long it was, like fucking 4 or 6 months or whatever, and he finally came back, he was like, "Where's all my stuff?"
The landlord kicked you out, dude.
Yeah, like, you got fucking evicted. And he was like, "No, I didn't. I was paying my rent." How the fuck were you paying your rent? You weren't working. You weren't doing anything. Nobody else was going to pay your fucking shit. So it was like I don't know what it was. He lost it. And every now and again, like, I know where he's at right now, and I'm not too happy with where he's at, but he, every once in a while, like probably once a week now, he just loses it. Like, he just goes fucking nuts. And I was talking to him, just sitting and have a conversation with him one time, and I was like, I don't understand what it is that's going on. And he's like, "Oh, everybody's just fucking with me, and everybody just trying to control me, and but," I'm like, you fucking lost it, dude. Like, you're gone. You're gone.
Do you think, and this maybe not doesn't apply to him, but it's just a hypothesis I'm throwing out there. I think we all can be honest and all admit that after, once it had nothing to do with COVID, but after COVID, when the veil kind of fell, and a lot of people who refused to see it before,
Yeah.
oh, wait a minute, the government's lying to us? Authorities not to be... See, I was raised by, once again, a woman who boyfriends pretended they were bikers. So I was raised, when I would spend my summers with my mom, to question authority, fuck the police, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And so I had an early dosage of, don't trust the government, fuck the police, this and that. I grew up skateboarding, so I was constantly being harassed by the man for, trespassing. So I had a real healthy, and got me in trouble quite often. Didn't matter if it's teachers. I've always had an issue with authority.
Yeah.
And whereas you had people like, God love her, my stepmother, who believed that the government had your best interest in mind, cops are there for you. The whole, Beaver Cleaver 1950s era stuff. And I think a lot of people, after what they saw, because the one thing COVID was really good for, it was a good experiment to show you who, when shit got real spicy, who was going to be in it for the people and who were in it for the power. And we got to see who the hell wanted to be the fucking power, i.e. California, Jersey, Chicago, the entire continent of fucking Australia. And I think a lot of people, and especially with the Epstein stuff, the Epstein shit's been going on for years, right? It was just Epstein and the fucking 9/11's an inside job, and that's the more and more shit goes by, the 9/11 stuff, you're like, interesting. Not saying it's an inside job, but it's like, now I wouldn't put it past them. Yeah. And I think more and more people are finally starting to use the phrase that it was originally intended for. The original intention of the phrase woke wasn't supposed to be to describe people who were fucking losing their mind. It was supposed to be people who woke up to the concept of X, Y, or Z. Got used for racism and all that, but people are kind of waking up and their eyes are open to kind of, hey, and not even nefarious, right? A lot of it's nefarious, but you guys know who George Santos is? George Santos?
Using gold bars for door stops.
I think his name's George Santos. He's like a New York Republican congressman, openly gay. He basically got ran out of office for misuse of finance fund for basically using the misappropriation of campaign contributions and this and that. And long story short, he's going to go to prison for 7 fucking years for doing something that everybody else did. But they kind of ran him out because he started whistleblowing on the establishment. I really didn't know much about him, but he just did a really interesting interview with Tucker Carlson. He's talking about how below Congress they have these storage units, they call them the cages. And he went down there to get some paper, and his staff said, this guy's like 30, You don't want to go down there because people have sex down there. And he started talking about like all the debauchery. He's like, it's insane to me. I got to Congress and I realized it's a bunch of 70-year-olds and 60-year-olds playing high school. He's like, it's frat boys gone wild there. He's like, it's insane.
Bunch of fucking grab-assery.
Yeah, he said it's just grab-assery dudes, fucking interns in the basement and this and that. He said, and he was talking about the gay kid who was filming gay porn in like one of the White House, the Senate room or the hearing room where he's like,
yeah, that was like a security official or something like that.
Well, it was like one of the interns of somebody who's openly gay was having sex in one of the conference room and filming it. And he's like, look, I'm openly gay. He's like, I'm not down for that. That makes me and the people who fought for equality look bad that this asshole's doing it. Say that shit for home. But long story short, and I'm not saying I support what he did, but he started putting it out there saying, and Tucker Carlson's like, Tucker's seen some shit. He's basically saying, all these politicians, they're just there making money and he said the amount of liquor on Capitol Hill is insane. He's like, these motherfuckers are sitting there drinking all day long. He's like, it's literally like frat boys gone wild. And that's why no one reads the bills. That's why all this shit gets pushed through, because you have a bunch of drunk alcoholics on a power grab just fucking over the people left and right, which is where I think this Epstein thing's coming to full whole hog, because when you had Pam Bondi, Bongino, and Cash Patel for years before they got to position saying Epstein, 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 Trump ran on drain the swamp, drain the swamp, drain the swamp. And now it's like nothing to see here. It's like, oh, so now you have some of the hardcore Trump people saying, well, wait a minute, you sold us a bill of goods. It's like, yo, jaded fucking Gen X guy here. Trump's a politician. He never used to be, but he is now. They all fucking lie. This is what they do. You bought into his bullshit, and now you're having your eyes open because all of a sudden he's not fulfilling some of his promises, and now there's people, diehard MAGA people are getting shocked. It's like, what did you expect? You actually think he was going to go in there and do the shit he said he was going to do? It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
Because then he'll get the JFK treatment.
Well, that's that's all the politicians when they go in there and and that's why they say, oh, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, because they want you on their side.
Well, that
They
and they're
want you to
naive
vote
enough
them
to
in.
think that they have power. And then once they get in there,
Right.
oh, we're just figureheads. We have no power.
Right.
Oh, we could do
Well,
this, but we'll get a
that's the
bullet in the
thing.
head.
It's-
Okay, well, I don't want a bullet in my head, so I guess I'll play along. I don't want the JFK treatment.
Yeah.
And that's exactly it. I mean, it's the people that you think are run the government don't run the government.
No, it's all the people behind closed doors.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's the Illuminati.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and Rob Schneider I saw a clip of him. He was talking at that Turning Point conference in Tampa, and he was talking about Trump derangement syndrome. He's like, for a long time, you have these people that we all called Trump derangement syndrome. Nothing Trump could do was right. Everything Trump did is wrong, wrong, wrong.
Yeah.
He said, we got to be honest with ourselves. There's people who have Trump derangement syndrome on the other side where he can never do wrong. Everything's good,
Yeah.
good, good. He's like, that's Trump derangement syndrome as well. And I saw another clip where Trump's doubling. Why are we still talking about this Epstein shit? No one. It's like, because finally we found the one thing we can all agree with,
Yeah.
and that is that we don't back down from fucking pedophiles. We want to know the pedos, right? And just like
Yeah.
this Epstein shit, look at the P. Diddy shit. Remember what we heard? Oh, there's videos. All these videos of all these people doing horrible shit. Where's the videos at? We're not going to release that shit.
Yeah.
And you're right, Trump. No one cares about Epstein. We care about what he was doing and the people he was doing it for. And I know this is fucked out, but I'll bring it up because it defines it to the perfect point of why you should care. Ghislaine Maxwell, she's in prison. What is she in prison for? Trafficking minors for sex. Okay, well, who did she traffic them to? Nobody. Huh?
Yeah.
So
How
if
does
you're
that
going to
make
put
any
me in
sense?
jail for fencing stolen goods, but you can't tell anybody I sold, but there's no evidence that I sold any of the stolen goods, then how am I guilty of fencing stolen goods? You're saying
Right.
she trafficked minors
To who?
to who? Oh, nobody. Well, then
Then
was
you
there-
didn't do
then
it.
there was no crime. Clearly, there was a
Yeah.
fucking crime because you have witness statements. You have all these chicks who said, yeah, they came down to my summer camp in Florida and fucking talked me into this like I was going to go to a Disney fucking tryout to get on to a fucking TV show. Because they were literally going to like summer camps and shit and Christian camps and getting these young girls and say, oh yeah, we're a modeling agency or blah, 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 flying down these fucking islands. These kids are fucked. And it's like, well, who were they selling them to? And the one thing, and that's across the board, right? You go to prison, got an environment of criminals, druggies, murderers, thieves, crooks. Who's the person who gets shanked first on riot day?
Pedos.
The fucking pedos. Rightfully so. And if you got an entire world of people who are convinced that you had a pedo ring who was providing children to some of the most rich and powerful people, whether intentionally or through a series of blackmail and intelligency, that shit's not going to slide. You can sell guns to the fucking cartel so you can track them to try to figure it out and call it Fast and Furious, and people let that shit slide. You can fucking take drugs and drop them off in the inner city and try to say, oh, we're trying to do it to figure out the organization and track this shit. You can do the same thing with stolen money. It doesn't make it right, but some people, you can't do that shit with kids. There's no justification of, hey, we're going to fucking do the world's worst thing to kids in an effort to do X. No, there's no means that justify, there's no ends that justifies that fucking means, and you're not going to get away with it. And I heard a very good point. I think Charlie Kirk said it. Everybody said, well, Trump's trying to cover it up because his name's on the list. If Trump's name was on that list, the Democrats would have brought that list out fucking 10 years ago to keep him from getting, they tried everything on the goddamn world to get that guy out of office. If there was any paperwork, because once again, the shit started when Biden, it actually goes back earlier to that. If there was any paperwork with Trump's name on it, that shit would have been out in the newspaper with the exception of a flight log. I'm sure he's on a flight log or two. But yeah. And finally, I'm seeing news clips on TikTok today, MSNBC and CNN, the diehard libs. They're leaning into this shit now, right? Because this is the death knell for the Trump administration. Oh, you guys need to. So now they're all jumping on the release of the files. And so now you have this one topic that spans across the aisles. And somebody better come up with something real fucking quick because they're not going to let this shit slide.
Yeah.
And rightfully so.
So watch for the next big catastrophe. Because some shit's got to go down to take the attention away from that.
It takes the heat off of that and puts it on something else. It's the sleight of hand. Don't worry about what's going on over here.
Don't watch what the left hand's doing.
Oh.
Don't worry about what's going on over here.
President Clinton slept with an intern. Tomahawk missiles flying in Iraq.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Preston, I forget his name. He's a TikToker, he's a military guy. He gets invited to the White House because his TikTok platform, he's really into to news on war and stuff and doing stuff on the Ukraine. I actually had him on What's the Skull about like 4 years ago. He put out a video today. Said, don't be surprised if shit starts escalating around the country to take the eyes off the Epstein stuff. He said, and I'm not talking about Ukraine. I'm not talking about Israel. That's too far away. We need to deal closer to home. I know. Hey, let's take out our cartel leader. That'll draw us all together. So, people are making that same speculation, Morgan. Don't be surprised if we need to do the slide. Let's divert attention away from Epstein and go to something.
Attack or something.
Yeah.
Yep. Making moves on Mexican cartel, something. But yeah, it's just, I don't know. It's a good thing that people are getting their eyes open to, hey, that's not all, they don't have our best interest in mind. And if you want a non-political thing to look at to show that they, in the big beautiful bill, the large amount of public land that they were trying to quantify to be sold off and parceled off for commercial real estate, that's all you need to know. Yeah. BLM land, they're trying to earmark, I think, 2 million acres worth of public hunting and fishing land across the country to get taken out of the BLM management and be able to be sold for commercial real estate so that these politicians can make money. It's fucking gross. And we saw it here in Florida, right? Captains for Clear Water has been fighting lately because they're kind of wanting to do the same thing around Lake Okeechobee, development and more shit.
Well, it's really interesting if you think about it. We probably shouldn't be building anything more. Yeah. At least not for a while, because there's people who are saying that the government is controlling the weather. I don't necessarily think that the government's controlling the weather. They're not, maybe not seeding clouds or whatever.
No, they're seeding clouds. That's been around since the 40s. Well, but whether it's having an effect to the scale,
that's not why there was flash flooding in Texas or New Jersey or whatever. And to a degree, some of the climate change people they have some valid points. Take Florida, for instance. The neighborhood that I live in, my buddies lived there for 60 years. The neighborhood's never flooded. They build all the stuff along Plantation, and they build up all around, put in developments, and pave everything. Well, that water that collected in the sloughs and whatever that they filled in has to go somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So it takes the path of least resistance, goes down the asphalt into my living.
Yeah.
And then also we're having more rain because the temperatures are higher, because there's no trees or grass or whatever to absorb the heat. It just reflects off of that blacktop, and it has to go somewhere. And that's what triggers, a lot of these, afternoon thunderstorms that we all experience. No. And, so yeah, climate change is real, but we did it to ourselves. It's not some nefarious government program
Yeah.
The
necessarily.
the libertarian in me doesn't like the idea of creating laws to prevent more construction. But the realist in me is like, trust me, I live in a neighborhood that they're building a brand new house over there and a brand new house over there. The realist in me is like, why are we building new houses when Cape Coral has the most inventory of unoccupied homes in the fucking nation? Why are we clearing more land to build new houses? And these aren't empty houses in some fucking dilapidated neighborhood. There are some down on MLK, but there's perfectly good empty houses over off of fucking Surfside, Chiquita, Skyline, some of the nicer neighborhoods.
Do you know why?
Why?
And this being in the construction industry, all of those houses that are, up for, because I mean, drive down a street and you'll count how many for sale signs you see.
No, I can walk from the neighborhood and tell you right now.
And in my opinion, I think a lot of it was, because I'm watching it right now. That's why I'm having such a struggle, getting hours and stuff like that at work, and we're having such a struggle getting work to get the hours.
Mm-hmm.
Is, I work new construction mostly, and they're building houses, yes, but nobody can afford the houses for starters. When COVID hit, we had this influx of people that came down from up north because Florida is like the fucking Wild West when it came to that shit, and we just didn't give a fuck really for the most part compared to the majority of the rest of the country.
Yeah, it was us in Texas, and Texas is where all the Californians are going, so the New Yorkers and Chicagoans are coming down here.
Exactly. So we had this influx of people, right? And we had all this influx of people buying houses and building and stuff like that. I mean, we were cooking there for, a couple of years.
And then Hurricane Ian came and sat down here for 9.5 hours.
And Hurricane Ian came, and all these people from up north went, fuck that.
Not only that, but can you imagine how many of them's homes were under construction and they didn't have insurance on them yet?
Correct. But also, you have all these people that, they came down here and they had these insurance companies. And number one, we're one of the highest, I think we're in like the top 10 for one of the highest mortgage rates in the country. So for starters, our houses are so fucking expensive, and the national interest rate and everything like that is just pushing all that shit up even higher.
Yep.
And then, they're coming, these insurance companies are coming in and going, oh yeah, we'll insure you. And then they go, oh, sorry. And they fucking, they bail.
And
the
the other
bailed,
reason?
and they did that during fucking, every major hurricane we've had, the insurance companies bail.
And the other reason for that is all the big mortgage companies and big banks are owned by one of the same four fucking conglomerates, BlackRock.
Yeah,
and
the big four, yeah.
They own pretty much all the houses.
Right.
And what was it? I think it was back in 2015 when I worked at Stan Haney at the World Economic Forum. They're like, in the future, no one's going to own anything and they're going to like it. Well, they're putting that into play where we're all basically, all our cars, all our houses are the same as our cell phone plan.
Yep.
We're just fucking renting to own, but we're never going to own. And we're just going to move on to the next. And they drive up the prices. It's fucking insane.
Well, and think about that too. We've got a bunch of houses that, houses that were built during the original boom in the mid
2004?
early to mid 2000s, probably I'd say 2002 to 2005.
Yeah, because the bubble popped in 08.
Yeah. Well, in construction, we started to see it in like 2006 to 2007. That was when things kind of went.
Yeah, because I moved down here in 03, and I remember watching the streets empty of day laborers who spend their day pouring block.
Exactly.
They left.
So we had all these houses that were down here that were for sale, and they were foreclosures because nobody could afford their houses and they had to leave, or that they had to whatever. And all these big companies came in and they bought all these fucking houses for pennies on the fucking dollar, and they flipped them, turned them around, and now they're renting them for $22, $23, $25, $3,000 a month.
Yep.
And those houses are never going to be owned by somebody ever again until it's ready for it to be flipped again, and it needs a new roof, it needs air conditioning, it needs all this shit. So we're basically back to square fucking one.
Yep, the house I live in was flipped.
What's that?
The house I'm living in, we bought was a rental property that was flipped, and then we bought it.
Exactly. And it sucks for my generation, for that, and the younger generation too, because it's like, we grew up with, our parents and our grandparents, kind of pushing it into us with, that, like, tying back into that whole American dream stuff and whatnot, house, family, car, all that kind of shit. We're never gonna own homes.
Nope.
I really don't think at this point that we're really going to be able to. I mean, the majority of us are probably not going to own homes.
Or at least, my kids, sadly, my daughter's like 10 years younger than you, but your kids' generation definitely for sure aren't going to own homes. It's insane.
Right. I mean, my generation is getting to the point where, we can, but just, the mortgage rates and the interest and everything just boosting up all of the, monthly expenses to own a home. And then on top of that, if it's not brand new, let's factor in, now I need $10,000 to $15,000 for an air conditioner because I just closed on the house 60 days ago and now it just took a shit.
Yeah, my water heater died the day after I closed.
Right.
How long do you think it's going to be before you can no longer buy a car, quote unquote, that it's all going to be leases? Because leasing's cheaper. And how many of us have actually kept a car, with the exception of Morgan, after the car payment was finalized, right? Carrie paid off her Mustang. Started falling apart. We went out and bought a Volkswagen. Paid it off. As soon as we paid it off, the air conditioning started going bad, and this needed repair, so we just leased a Volkswagen. I had the Tundra that I bought.
The conspiracy is that that's by design, buddy.
That's been, wear and tear parts been for years. But my point being is, even every truck I've owned, I've quote unquote purchased, I didn't lease, and I would just trade them in for the new one, just like a cell phone. Now my goal with my Tundra is to pay it off, but I just refinanced it to get my car payment down to a reasonable 2012 rate of $460 a month instead of the fucking national average on a used car, which is $600 a month. But by doing that, refinancing fees got appended to the end, and so I added $2,000 onto the price of the truck, thus pushing another 2 years when I'm going to pay the fucking thing off.
Yeah.
And so by the time I finally do pay it off, it's probably going to need repairs. I'm just going to turn around and buy another fucking truck again. So if you have good credit, it's cheaper. You can lease a car for half the price. I guess my question is, when are we going to stop pretending like we want to buy a car and just start doing leasing programs because it's cheaper monthly?
Why would you want to buy a car?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's the thing.
I'd
it's
say
like you pay for 5 to 8 years on something that's fucking worthless when you're done paying for it.
yeah,
Especially nowadays.
I bought my truck at $75,000 off the lot, and I'm down. I think it's worth 26, maybe 24. It wasn't worth. I mean, that was out. Tax title, all that happy horse shit. Like $76,000. But the window sticker on it was like 58, 56 or something like that.
That's what I paid for my
It depreciated by half.
Could you imagine?
I don't even have 30,000 miles on the fucking thing yet.
Let's go jump in the Wayback Machine. Let's go back to 1996 and go to a Don skateboarding on the street in his 1991 S10 that I think his dad bought originally for his brother to retail at $8,000 and say, hey, in 2025, actually in 2023, you're going to pay $45,000 for a used car.
Yeah.
And I'm like, fucking sweet, I have a Lamborghini? I got a fucking Mercedes. No, you own a truck. Huh?
Yeah.
I think in the 90s, what? A Lambo went for $80,000. A high-end, a Maserati you can get for $80,000. Now it's a Ford F-150 for $56,000 for base model. It's like, holy shit.
Yeah, I get people all the time beating me up over price. It's like, well, I used to pay this for this. And I'm like, yeah, you used to be able to buy an F-250 for, $11,000.
I was going to say, I mean, try getting your equivalent of your F-250 now. Or you have an F-250 or 350?
No, it's a 250 4-wheel drive diesel.
Try getting that.
$80,000
Yeah.
base.
It's
way
an
more,
$80,000,
dude. $120
truck.
That's what I'm
grand
saying,
for an
base.
F-250.
It's a base model.
For something like a base model might be 80 grand, but his version of it with 4-wheel drive, $120,000. Are you fucking with me?
The
right
base
now?
model, the base model of the S10 we bought, here's how base it was. Came with one mirror, no bumper, no radio,
Yeah.
no air conditioning, no power steering. That was and a bench
Crank
seat. That was
windows.
base model.
Yeah.
Now base model
yeah.
is blind spot sensors, backup camera, crumple zones, heated seats, 4-way climate control, AC, fucking taint warmer for the kid in the back. That's your base model nowadays. My truck came
Yeah.
with one mirror.
Yeah. See, and I'm at the point now where I wanted to, I always like to experience things at least once. I never had a brand new car.
Yep.
So I bought a brand new car. I was a fucking psycho about it for the first couple of years because I was like, oh, it's
yeah.
getting dirty. It's all this shit. And it's like, now it's like, it's got some dents. It's got some scratches here and there. The fucking third brake light's cracked, and I don't know how the fuck that happened. All this little bitty, bullshit. And it's like, I don't think I ever want to own. I mean, unless I've just got money. And I don't care, if it's that, like, I don't give a shit. I can drop 50 grand and I'm fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I got fuck you money.
Or like if it was like a work truck type situation.
Oh,
Where,
I
I want to
completely-
get my worth out of it. You know what I mean? Like,
I never felt so binded. Two things.
Yeah.
One, I completely agree. I grew up poor as shit. I didn't have my first brand new car off the lot until I was 35 and worked at Stan & Haney, and I bought a base model Toyota Tacoma, the same one that Advanced Auto Parts delivers brake pads to, that have like the Toyota Corolla suspension and the 13. The thing was fucking sits lower than a Honda Accord, and then I upgraded to the black one, and I remember brand new. Daughter got in it. I kept, put your book bag in the back. Put your book bag in the back. She gets in the passenger seat. It had buckles. She gets out, puts a gash all the way down the fucking plastic dashboard. And then I traded that in on my Tundra. The Tundra had dents in it. After the hurricane, it has less dents in it because I got it repainted. But to Mike's point, now, like the other day, I got mad and I backed up in the McDonald's drive-thru and hit those plastic do-do-do things. And I can get it off with some fucking gray bar, but I got scuffed. I don't care now.
yeah.
There's nothing more liberating than being poor, getting two brand new vehicles, and living through the torment of trying to maintain a brand new, especially if you live in a community with shared parking. You're going to stay up at night knowing that the asshole's going to ding your fucking door.
Yeah.
But what I said,
first
what I meant by
brand new
I never felt so more shackled.
Yeah.
I went out with, and he was on the podcast before, Alligators, David. He bought a brand new Silverado, base model, but still brand new, probably $70,000. Hey man, we're going to go fishing. My family's been down here so long, we have all the keys to the LCEC utility areas. So we're going, unlocking doors. We're driving through the swamps along the interstate. He's driving, branches scratching his fucking, he just bought the truck 2 days ago. I'm like, ugh. I said, David, what are you? It's a fucking truck, man. Who cares? I'm like, he's the most free motherfucker I know. Brand new truck, had it 2 days. We're driving through the swamp, fucking branches scratching down his clear coat. He didn't give two shits to him. Hey man, he's an old fucking ranch hand. It's just a truck. To me, I'm like, I'm having a nervous breakdown for him because I'm poor guy, new truck anxiety. I'm like, this motherfucker's freer than I will ever be.
And those, if you're on a ranch or a farm or anything like that, that's what they do. They buy, work truck models or even, just base models or a step above, and they buy these fucking trucks and they just beat the shit out of them.
To him, he didn't care.
Because that's what they're for.
It's a brand new Silverado. He just had it for 3 days, and we're literally 4-wheel drive, driving through fucking service roads to go to these fishing spots down off the interstate that no one can get to. And you get out, and his truck looked like a zebra. All the clear coat was just brand, and he didn't give a shit. I'm like, you are the
think
freest
about like
person I know.
Think about Morgan's truck, when it was brand new. Or, like I think about my 83 Deluxe, back in the day.
Yeah, but Morgan's truck, when it was
like,
brand new, you could pull into the gravel pit. They could dump 20 pounds of fucking pea gravel in the bed, and it wouldn't even so much put a chip in it. Nowadays, you do that, and your goddamn tailgate falls off.
But that's what I'm saying is like just the quality was obviously a lot better, but also, it it didn't really matter at that time. It was like, you
truck.
used it for its purpose. That's what it was used for. Now they're designed for comfort and luxury and all that. It's like, that's not what it's for.
Well, I actually watched a video the other day on the Toyota Hilux Champ,
Yeah.
which, they were trying to start a rumor that it's actually going to make it to the U.S., but I don't think it will. But it's got a fold-down bed, and it's like $12,000 because it has crank windows.
You mean like the old Volkswagen buses where the beds fold down to turn into a flatbed?
Yeah, exactly. And I was thinking, now I would buy that if that actually came to market in the U.S.
Well,
$12,000 for a truck, and you could give a shit about it at that. But they were saying that like 80 to 90% of people who buy trucks don't use them for truck stuff.
Oh,
Right.
me and Mike were talking about that the last time we went fishing.
Yeah.
We're like, you and I probably use our, with the exception of a construction guy or a plumber,
Yeah. A
And
tradesman. Yeah.
we probably use
Company.
our trucks as a truck more than most people because we're constantly putting kayaks and shit in the back of them.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. Well, and look at those trucks that go down the road that are all beat to shit and whatnot. I mean, those. I mean, yeah. I mean, there's guys out there that really don't give a shit. But I mean, my old Silverado when I had it, I mean, I treated it like it was a truck. I mean, I've always been one to try and keep something relatively nice, even when it was garbage.
Yeah.
I always tried to fucking make garbage, as relatively nice as I could because I knew that was all I had.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I think it's important, and I stopped changing my oil a long time ago just because it's a hassle to take the oil to the Vance Auto Parts and do all that shit. But my truck's up for an oil change, and I'm about ready just to do it myself. And I was reminded of this when I changed the wheel speed sensor on the Volkswagen. It was super easy. Fucking cost me $20 on Amazon. But more importantly, at the end of the day, after I fixed it myself, you take pride and ownership in your vehicle. And I think that's I think that's what we're lacking as a society, right? No one does the simple stuff. I understand I don't have the skill to fucking change out a clutch or transmission. With the proper tools and some guidance, I could probably do a fucking tie rod. I know I can do brakes. I can do an alternator. But there's certain things I know that I can't do that I'll happily go pay somebody for. An oil change is one of those. But I think we need to get in the habit of start working our own shit again because A, you take pride in it. B, you take some ownership. And 3, it's a tangible skill. But, you're from a long line of beat up cars and being poor. Remember when Chevy came out with the tailgate with the built-in step? So you put the tailgate, that thing popped down and folded down.
Yeah, that was GMC at first, and then Chevy kind of adopted it after
I saw that commercial. You know what I thought? Very first thing I thought?
The fucking...
Show me that thing in 10 years when that fucking one of those 2 supports is broken, that car's driving down the street, and that fucking thing's spinning around like a... Because I've come from such a long line of used car owners that when I see brand new vehicles, I'm like, well, what is that going to look like in 6 years when I can afford it? And so when I first saw that, I'm like, yeah, that's great until that step breaks and it's just fucking flopping around with some poor guys driving to fucking work and after the thing's 10 years old.
That's why, I've noticed, like, you don't really see them that often.
No.
And I usually only see them, like, because I think you have to get that on, like, a higher-end model, too. And if you're buying a higher end model, you're probably not, but you probably, if you can afford a higher end model, you're probably not using it for truck shit like that anyway.
I love when you see the guy.
That's a standard feature on a Denali and stuff like that too. And nobody buying a Denali is using a fucking Denali as a work truck.
There's nothing better than when you see that asshole in Home Depot and he's got like the fiberglass bed cover or even the tonneau cover like Mike and I have. But then he has the 2x4s through his open third window. And he's got like a blanket sitting on top of the tonneau cover.
That he could put that somewhere.
It's like, come on, dude.
Yeah.
Get with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
I'm getting to that point now where, cause like I tell Melissa, my wife, all the time, she's like, because I blasted the fucking side mirror out of the car. I was heading up to my parents' house, construction on 31, fucking barrel was sticking out a little too far, and something was going on in the car where I had veered a little bit, fucking blasted the mirror. And the most side mirrors on cars now are color matched. Mm-hmm. At least half of it is. Mm-hmm. and on hers, half of it is color matched. And fucking that came right off, blasted into a million pieces. The mirror popped out, fucking broke into 100 million pieces. And she's like, "Oh, well, can you fix that?" And I'm like, "Honey,
Yeah.
I've been broke. I've been poor. I've never been able to take, unless it's like tires or alignments, basically. I've done everything else pretty much, with the exception of like swapping body, like
Yeah,
taking the
quarter
bed
panel and
off the
shit,
truck
yeah.
or pulling a cab and chassis apart or something like that. I've pulled engines. I've rebuilt engines. I've rebuilt transmissions. I've done all that shit. So with the exception of tires and alignments, I can pretty much do everything, and I know I'm going to get back to that point at some. I definitely did
Well,
on her.
in that case, open the door. If you have the triangle cover on the inside, you're good.
Yeah.
Pop the triangle off. There's 3 bolts. The thing. If
Yeah.
it's all door panel, and you got fucking door panel airbags, then it's going to get a little more sticky wicket. But hopefully,
Well,
you open
see-
that thing up, and you'll have that little triangle beauty piece. Pop that
Yeah.
off. 3 bolts. Go to eBay Auto, and Bob's your uncle.
Well, it's color matched, and naturally, it's and this is always my luck when it comes to stupid shit. It's her car is dark like your truck, that dark metallic gray type of color, and I can find every other fucking color under the sun except for that for her car.
Now, sadly, remember I de-chromed my mirrors. I got color matched mirror covers.
Yeah.
Well, they're color matched mirror covers, but guess who's got to pop them off and repaint them because they're color matched, but they're not high end paint. That's just, that I ran my hand on top of one. It was rough. The Florida sun beating the fuck out of the paint that they used. So, and you can start to see the black because they use cheap paint. So I'm gonna pop them off. Go to fucking Advanced Auto Parts. I'm gonna fucking wet sand them, spray them, and then put like 18 coats of clear coat and pop them back on there. But
Well, see, the frame of the mirror and everything was actually fine. There's a couple spots that are cracked that I could probably glue back together with some plastic adhesive or something like that. But the top cover I'm going to have to get. I was talking to a buddy of mine that I've known for quite a while now. He does die cast,
okay,
custom die cast and stuff like that. And he does like Hot Wheel collections and whatnot.
you can rattle can those if you're good enough with it.
Yeah. Well, he used to detail cars back in the day too.
Yeah.
And he worked for Toyota actually. He has a Lexus that he drives a 03 IS 300. But he was like, well, he was like, I can paint match because the black ones are like $18 for both of them
Yeah.
versus like $100, and it's like $25 in shipping for the colored one from some Chinese fucking website that,
So
who knows
What
where the
I'm
fuck it's
hearing-
coming from.
what I'm hearing is you solve your problem
Yeah,
and you buy both of them, and they're no longer color matched to the car, but
correct.
they're black.
Correct. But you're married, aren't you?
It's not what you
You're
want.
married.
It's what
I'm
she
also-
wants.
I'm also married to a very frugal woman who would be like,
Yeah.
it's going to cost me $200 to get this fixed, or you can fix it for $25.
Well,
I can
see,
live with them being black.
Yeah, see, now I don't want to say that my wife is like bougie in that sense. She's not. But she was like, "Well, can we get them color matched?" And I was like, "Well, we're basically going to pay like $100 for this one cover,
Yeah.
or we could buy the 2 black ones for like $25, from Amazon." And she said, "Well, what about color matching and all that?" And I was like,
Have you checked eBay?
"Yeah, I have."
Okay.
Yeah. I just did a basic Google search, and I can find them.
Yeah.
I can find that color, and I have the paint code and everything. I know what it is. But I was like, fuck it. I was driving back home that day, and I actually found a piece of the colored part.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, let me take that. So I gave it to him, and I was like, play around with your paint and see if you can match this up.
You can get the color code off your door jam.
I got that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But I'm curious, he likes to tinker with that kind of shit.
I was
so
say
was
because
like,
you should be able to go to the auto parts store and buy the
Easily.
paint match spray can.
easily.
Yeah.
I can get it on Amazon for like $15.
Yeah.
But I'm curious if he can because he's gonna sit there and mix it up until he gets it exactly. right.
Gotcha.
So, but yeah, that's working on your own cars. I mean, and I'm gonna get to that point with my truck here soon too. So
Yeah.
soon as that contract runs out.
Yeah, I got to get my oil change. And as you can see, I'm wearing my glasses that are like 10 years old because contacts, you have to get a new prescription every year. And I lost my last contact this morning, so I had to schedule a eye exam on Friday to go drop $200 on that. And so it's like, well, I'm dropping $200 in my eyes. Do I want to drop $140 on an oil change because it's synthetic, or do I want to do it myself and save $60 on labor? So I'm going to get my hands dirty this weekend.
Yep.
Well, I think that's going to wrap it up for this episode of the What's in Your Head podcast. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us for another night. Please head over to whatsinyourhead.com. Click on the merch link. You can find yourself t-shirt, mugs, this, that, and everything. Sign up for Patreon. Head over to youtube.com. Look for D410 Media and Poles and Paddles. Please like, subscribe, share with a friend. And until next week, we will talk to you all
This has been a Digital 410 production.
later.